Thanks for joining us today. A teen spent the night in a county jail after Brooklyn Park police arrested him for murder. Police say they arrested a 19-year-old Coon Rapids man on Thursday. He's accused of killing 23-year-old Ramon Blue earlier in December. According to police, Blue was one of two shooting victims found outside the Trendsetters clothing store on December 7th. He died in the hospital, while the other victim is expected to recover. Charges for the shooting are pending. Jail records show he also had an arrest warrant for a domestic assault in Plymouth. A man who was freed from prison in 2020 after a high-profile review of his case is headed back to a cell. It comes after he was arrested by Robbinsdale police. Myon Burrell was sentenced to life in prison as a teenager for a 2002 Minneapolis shooting. Following media scrutiny and calls from activists, the Minnesota Board of Pardons commuted his sentence in 2020. Robbinsdale police pulled him over in 2023 for erratic driving and found a handgun and drugs in his car. A judge found him guilty and sentenced him to 5 years in prison. Minnesota Housing announced $191 million in investment toward homes across the state.
When we say we're investing in housing finance, that means we're improving the places where kids grow up.
Housing Commissioner Jennifer Ho says this money will support nearly 2,300 homes. Just under half of the funding goes to preserving existing affordable properties, and the rest will go toward new construction, like one 44-unit property in Crystal that's planned for construction in 2025. The affordable complex will be off Bottineau Boulevard and Bass Lake Road.
In order to be able to provide these below market rate rents and make sure we're serving households in need, the state money is absolutely crucial.
Units in the new Crystal building will cost between 30% and 80% of the area's median income. A pair of local baseball legends met with police on Friday to celebrate the spirit of giving.
Even though it seems like such a small thing, a minor thing, it really has a huge impact. So can't say how grateful we are and how thankful we are that you guys all are involved in this.
Justin Morneau hosted a winter coat drive, collecting new and used coats to donate. Him and Hall of Famer Joe Mauer met with local police departments that collected coats for the drive. The Maple Grove Police Department brought in nearly 400 coats, the second most of any participating police department. Commander John Wetternock says his department often sees a need for warm clothes in the community.
There are people that are in need, and the community really came together to contribute a lot of coats, 398 of them, to help distribute throughout the metro area to help people in need.
Police departments donated about 3,000 coats during the drive. If you live in New Hope, your organics recycling program will look a little different next year. New Hope will have a single organics hauler servicing the entire city. That service starts in April of next year. Currently, each of the city's trash haulers offer pickup. The city says multiple haulers make recycling more expensive. The cost will be $2.90 per month, and you'll need to register to get a cart. Rates will increase to $3.75 as more residents start using the service. Now to a story that recalls a man-made famine that killed millions. As the war in Ukraine rages, a filmmaker and Plymouth resident looks back at a tragic moment in history.
The first thing I remember is the word collectivization, said in a whisper and with fear.
I think it's important for us to study genocides, to understand why they happened, and to make sure that they don't happen again.
Zina Gutmanis wrote and directed a documentary on the Holodomor, a famine in Ukraine in the 1930s. The Plymouth writer spent 5 years working on the film, which connects Minnesota residents with the Soviet-era famine, as well as the modern-day war in Ukraine.
Ukraine is in the news, and it is at a very critical point right now. And so I think that this film will also give people some insights into how things have developed and why they've developed.
Olga Dovgapola is an artist featured in the documentary. She's a Crystal resident that makes traditional Ukrainian Easter eggs. She says these pieces of cultural art hold a much deeper meaning than meets the eye.
It's a miniature art, but it tells a long story of our people. It's like a prayer, if you will, that speaks about who we are as a people, who we are as community.
Holodomor, Minnesota Memories of Genocide in Ukraine airs at 8 p.m. on January 5th on TPT. You can also watch it on January 13th and 31st. And finally, we head to a longtime downtown Osseo staple. It's changing owners after being in the same family since 1956. I had a chance to meet the new owners of Dick's Bar and Grill, who said they plan to keep that family feel.
And did you need a little time before you order? Or?
Heavy snow didn't stop a few brave souls from coming into Dick's Bar and Grill in Osseo.
Well, at least they're out plowing now, so.
And Julie Schmidt was happy to serve them,
Cheeseburger and fries?
as she has for many years.
You know, I've lost count. It's just the years goes by so fast, but it's about 27 years.
That whole time, she's worked for the Christiansens, Bill, Maxine, and Molly. Over 68 years, they put an emphasis on family. Schmitz feels that also applies to the people they serve.
A lot of stories told and stuff like that. You get pretty involved in their lives.
But the Christiansens left the business, and another family is taking their place.
We went from one family owning the restaurant to another family owning the restaurant, and we are exactly that.
That's Phil Luchin, who took over the business with his wife Diane. His 3 daughters are involved too, and he thinks his family of restaurateurs fit right in.
It's a great feel to be able to get into a neighborhood bar and grill and have everybody in the neighborhood accept you.
He says he's excited to keep things the way everyone likes it, with some personal touches.
We'll do a couple menu items, we'll introduce a couple menu items, but full well knowing that it's a bar and grill, so we're not going to get too fancy.
As the winter drags on, he says he's looking forward to the summer, if you can even picture it, when the restaurant comes to life from the outside in.
There's a lot of big operations out there, but being able to walk into this establishment and say hi to someone, and they're going to be here tomorrow, and seeing your neighbor be here, that's why they should come.
After 2 close losses earlier this month, the Wayzata boys basketball team was shooting for a 4th straight win Thursday as the Trojans hosted Breck. Jay Wilcox has the highlights.
Defending state class 2A champion Breck set to face last year's 4A runner-up Wayzata in boys basketball. Isaac Olmsted jumps into the passing lane for the steal and layup as Wayzata grabs an early lead, 17 for Olmsted total. In transition, Xavier Ivy drops it to Christian Wiggins for a 3 from the wing, and the Trojans take a 17-6 lead. Breck tries to get going. Miles Newton to J.P. Masoki on the nice pick and roll, but the Mustangs are still down 13. Wyatt Macbeth gets his hand in the passing lane, and he goes all the way for the big jam despite a rough landing, and it's mostly Trojans. Macbeth drives and kicks it to the corner for a 3 from Wiggins. Wiggins scores a game-high 22.
It's Christian Wiggins.
Breck almost gets the steal here, but Nolan Anderson recovers and finds Brady Lamb for the hoop end foul. Wayzata leads 41-25 at the half, and they cruise to an 87-54 win over Breck. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The Champlin Park boys basketball team is ranked 5th in the state in Class 4A. Chaz Moots has highlights from a Thursday night thriller for the Rebels.
Blaine making the short trip over the river to Champlin Park. A lot of offense early in this one. Quasilipo spinning, driving, contorting his body for the finish. He had a night for CP. Blaine had an answer back to any Rebel run in the first half. Ty Buffo 3 of his team high, 31 points on the night. Bengals up 3 at the half. They led for most of the second half, but the Rebels trying to rally. Tyler Wagner baseline back cut slam. Wagner had 34 points. Then later Preston Tilkey down the lane, right hand finish, bucket and the foul. Tilkey had 13. We'd have a tie game after regulation, 90-90. In overtime, Bengals down 2 under 20 seconds. Shiloh Ayedi right to the rim. Good take, tied back up at 97. Next possession, Silipo, talk about a tough finish, banks it in. CP back up 2. Silipo poured in 42 points for the Rebels. 6 seconds left on the clock for Blaine. It was enough time for Ayedi coast to coast all the way to the rack. The junior beats the buzzer. We'd have more free basketball in double OT. Rebels down by 3. Gavin Walter spot up triple, 102-102. After a Rebel stop on defense, didn't look good here for a second, but Wagner corrals the ball, pull up from deep, buries it. That was the dagger. The Rebels hold on and win it 110-104.
The Totino Grace wrestling team is ranked 7th in Class AA. The Eagles ran into a tough Northwest Suburban Conference foe this week. Jay Wilcox has highlights.
Totino Grace hosting Coon Rapids as part of a tri-meet in wrestling. Coon Rapids starts fast. At 114 pounds, Adrian Chang has the cradle locked on Kellen Vandermeide. Chang keeps his grip and gets the pin as the Cardinals get 2 falls to start for a 12-0 lead. Logan Refsnyder is ranked second at 114 in Class 2A for TG. He wrestles at 121 in this one and gets a fall for the Eagles in a match that's filled with pins, many of them in the first period. Up to 160 in a big match. Bachi Ibrahidze with the throw, taking Landon Bazal to his back. He gets the pin for Coon Rapids in a key swing match. They lead 36-17. Peyton Herbst answers in the next match at 172 pounds for Totino Grace as he throws in the half and gets another fall as the Eagles battle back to within 36-23. And they keep coming. Joe Cruzy scoops the head and gets the pin in the 215-pound match. The third straight fall for the Eagles. They pull within 36-35. That means it comes down to the heavyweights, and Hayden Skillings with the throw takes Edwin Hernandez to his back and gets the pin. Coon Rapids wins 42-35. They also beat Park Center. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.